We read the question in a hurry. And when we read the question in a hurry, often we miss keywords, often we interpret it incorrectly, and of course then we don't write good answers. So you have to spend at least 30-40 seconds on understanding the question only. UPSC के questions कभी direct तो होंगे नहीं. They will be twisted. अगर even if there's for instance a question on say smart cities and urbanization, it will never be that what is smart city. It would be about some aspect of urbanization and smart cities. Is it a good policy or is it not a good policy? So they're never direct questions. They're always twisted. So at least 30 to 40 seconds must be given on understanding the question itself. और अगर आप एक बार अच्छे से क्वेश्चन समझ गए तो ऑटोमेटिकली आप आंसर बहुत करेक्टली लिखेंगे. So for instance, if so and so is a question, smart cities पे है, something to do with urbanization and smart cities. So I think first 2-3 lines जिसमें आप introduction लिखेंगे, it should probably begin with a good fact, or probably you can summarize what the whole smart cities mission is. For instance, अगर urbanization से कुछ related है, you can quote, and आप इतनी general studies करेंगे कि automatically you'll have those facts with you. You can quote a UN report that according to the UN report, by 2050, around 60 to 70% of India's population would be residing in urban areas. So this highlights the gravity of the situation, that we really require we require things like smart cities, because urbanization will go on increasing over the next couple of years. So first 3 lines जो आप इंट्रोडक्शन का लिखते हैं वो सॉर्ट ऑफ इंट्रोड्यूस कंसेप्ट करेगा जो भी पूछा है क्वेश्चन में, एंड इट हैज़ टू बी इम्प्रेसिव. अगर वो इम्प्रेसिव रहेगा तो आप एग्जामिनर को सॉर्ट ऑफ रीज़न दे रहे हैं कि वो आपका क्वेश्चन अच्छे से पढ़े और इंटरेस्ट लेके पढ़े. फिर मेन बॉडी ऑफ कोर्स जो भी एग्जैक्टली पूछा है दैट हैज़ टू बी इन द मेन बॉडी. And then we come to the conclusion. I personally believe that sometimes the questions are like critically evaluate. So of course you point out the weaknesses, you point out the lacuna, because that's being practical. But at the same time you cannot be a person who's just critical of things, who's just skeptical of things. You have to be one person who is very positive. So the conclusion always has to be very positive. Even अगर आपको लगता है कि नहीं चीज़ें उतनी अच्छी नहीं हैं जितनी होनी चाहिए, तो भी आपको अपने कंक्लूजन में यही बताना होगा कि फाइन, थिंग्स आर नॉट एज व्हाट वी डिजायर देम टू बी, but change is possible and change is happening. And if you have some evidence that things are now being done in the right direction, even mention that. So the conclusion has to project you as someone who's very positive and who believes in transformation and change. मेंस में फॉर इंस्टेंस इंटरव्यू में तो आप सामने बैठे हैं और वो आपके इमोशंस एक्सप्रेशन सब देखेंगे. मेंस में यू आर प्रोजेक्टिंग योर सेल्फ थ्रू योर आंसर्स. So somehow your answers must reflect your personality as well. Now for instance, a lot of times we get questions and हम बहुत one sided answer लिख देते हैं. We sometimes believe, okay, मेरा opinion ये है, so I'll just write according to that. But that's not how it should be. It should somehow demonstrate that fine, you might believe in one thing, but you're ready to listen to the other side of the story as well. So usually अपने आंसर्स को ऐसा बनाइए कि वो बहुत मल्टी फैसेटेड हो, बहुत ही मल्टी डायमेंशनल हो. वन टिप विच ऑलवेज वर्कड फॉर मी वॉज दैट इवन फॉर ऐसे फॉर दैट मैटर, कि जो भी टॉपिक है, if I'm worried कि इतना कंटेंट नहीं है मेरे पास, या और प्रॉबेबली मेरी थिंकिंग से वन साइडेड हो रही है, what I used to do was that I used to analyze that topic in the sense that what are its political consequences, what are its economic consequences, what are its social consequences, psychological consequences, consequences for individual, consequences for society, consequences for country in general. So ये क्या demonstrate करता है कि आप वन डायमेंशनल थिंकिंग नहीं रखते, आप मल्टी फैसेटेड पर्सनैलिटी है, आप मल्टी डायमेंशनल थिंकिंग से आंसर लिख रहे हैं. एंड दिस सॉर्ट ऑफ मेक्स यू थिंक मोर, मेक्स यू थिंक आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स, एंड इवन इंक्रीजेज योर कंटेंट टू एन एक्सटेंट.
And academy makes sure that when you complete your training, you come out as a civil servant who is very disciplined, a no nonsense government worker, one who is very compassionate and has a well-rounded view about nearly everything and anything. So life at the academy begins like say at 6 a.m. in the morning and ends at 6 p.m. in the evening. So nearly a 12-hour schedule in which we undergo right from physical training to getting into classes about nearly everything that a district collector is supposed to do. So it's basically to develop a wholesome personality, a well-rounded personality. So I wouldn't say that life after cracking the civils has been a cakewalk. And at the later stages of life, go into policy formulation. So broadly, it's from policy making to policy formulation. And when we are implementing the policy at our initial stages, we start off as an STM, then go as a DAM, district collector. And nearly anything and everything which concerns the district, be it drinking water, be it education, be it roads, be it infrastructure, nearly everything comes under the purview of a DM. So at one time you can be controlling some law and order situation, at other time you could be looking at the improving the infrastructure of the region. So that much is the responsibility and the purview of working of an IS officer, and probably that makes it so much sought after. One signature of yours changed lives of many. The happiness and satisfaction you get individually, I think no other profession probably gives you that, because it makes you work for a lot of people in very small steps. So the immense satisfaction that one derives from this job is a profession which will demand a lot of your time and effort. So you have to be a person who always comes on time. You have to be a person who's very dedicated to every small thing and every big thing in life. So in general, you have to be a hardworking person. Secondly, I think you have to be a very patient person. Why? Because every day the same people or different people will come with the same problems, and you'll have to hear them out every day and every day. And sometimes the work is repetitive, and to deal with all of that, one has to be very patient. In fact, the exam requires a lot of patience. Every aspirant, anyone who sits for it, needs to give his or her 2 years of life. 1 year preparing, the other year sitting through it. So when so much time, energy, investment is involved, one needs a lot of patience, and I think patience is a very big key to being successful in this service. And third, like I completely agree with Athar here, that you have to be a person with a very compassionate heart. And the job of an IS officer is so challenging that somewhere deep in your heart, the passion for the service, why you for the very first time thought of entering into it, has to remain. So compassion and passion have to go hand in hand. So for me, these are the essential qualities. You need to be a hard worker, you need to be very patient, and you need to have a very good heart. And if we talk about no-nos, that what you should avoid, well, of course, we need good people in the government. We need good people who are willing to do good for the society in general. So anybody who has other vested interests in mind, which there are sometimes, of course, we wouldn't want such people with such qualities entering into the service. So like he said, dishonest people or people having vested interests in their mind, I think we certainly do not want those kind of people coming. Other than that, I think I am a person who believes in grays, okay? I don't believe in blacks and whites. And I believe that everybody has redeeming qualities, and there's nothing ever good or bad completely. And even if for instance we have some negative qualities at the moment, we always have the power to change them. So apart from people coming with a vested interest to do something bad, apart from not having those people, I think anyone and everyone who wishes to be here can come here.
Now, for prelims, studying of course is very important, but more than that, since prelims is a very different kind of paper, you have to identify the correct option among 4. You have to specify whether this is right, this is wrong. It's a very objective paper because there will be some 30% to 35% questions which we think we know but we do not also know. So we play that risk game. So there is ample time because when we are in examination mode, we are 100% focusing on the paper. It's very different from a classroom mode because your friends are sitting next to you and it's not a real exam, so you're somewhat relaxed. But when you're giving prelims, you're giving prelims. Your 100% focus is on the paper. You just take 30 to 40 seconds actually to solve one question.
Of course, a lot of people have these questions ki, acha, does handwriting matter in answers? I believe more than handwriting, it's neatness which matters. So always have proper spacing between words. आप जैसे इंट्रोडक्शन के बाद पैरा चेंज करके मेन बॉडी पे आएंगे तो प्रॉपर दिखना चाहिए that you've changed a para. It's more about being legible, that the examiner is able to understand what you've written. Then of course I always advise everybody that you should always underline keywords and phrases. So that just makes that just points out the important stuff to the examiner. But इसका मतलब ये नहीं है that you're underlining everything, only the keywords and phrases. For instance, if I talk about ethics, in ethics we often get questions where you get a quote and you have to explain the quote and in the context of what it means to you. So आप इसको कैसे attempt करेंगे? Of course you will explain what you understood by the quote given, but after that you have to explain what it meant to you. So try to, अब ये नहीं है कि personally ये मेरे लिए क्या मतलब रखता है, आपको ऐसे लिखना होगा कि according to me what relevance this quote has for society in general and for the country in general. So that shows that you're not only thinking about yourself, but you're thinking about your perceptions about the society as well as the country. So these questions are a bit theoretical, तो ये तो with practice आ ही जाएगा. Now case studies. Case studies is one thing which is often neglected, but case studies is very very important and it is important that you practice them. काफ़ी बार क्या होता है, we think कि अच्छा case study तो है, उस टाइम पढ़ लेंगे फिर कुछ सोल्यूशन आ जाएगा तो वो लिख देंगे, बट इट एक्चुअली रिक्वायर्स दैट इट इज़ एक्चुअली रिक्वायर्ड दैट यू ट्रेन योर माइंड टू अटेम्प्ट केस स्टडीज. सो वो तभी आएगा जब आप बहुत प्रैक्टिस करें. सो वेन एवर यू डोंट फील लाइक स्टडिंग किसी भी दिन कि आज पढ़ने का मन नहीं है, डू अ केस स्टडी, पिकअप अ केस स्टडी एंड सॉल्व इट. एंड जब आप जितनी केस स्टडी सॉल्व करेंगे ऑटोमेटिकली यू विल गेट स्टैंडर्ड सोल्यूशंस, क्योंकि दिस सोल्यूशन प्रॉबेबली वर्क्स इन मोस्ट सर्कमस्टेंसेस. तो दैट विल कम व्हेन यू प्रैक्टिस.
Then if we move on to mains. Mains of course is very very interconnected with how prelims is, and of course prelims will set your base. Now how do we study for mains? Because we are studying GS, we are studying optional. It's a myth that one should take this optional, one should take that optional, that is scoring, this is scoring. That's all, they are all rumors, they have no basis. Choose an optional which is of your interest, because the optional syllabus amounts to a graduation syllabus and you're supposed to do a graduation which is usually for 3 years in 4 months. And UPSC does not discriminate that I'll give geography students more marks, I'll give this subject students more marks. No, they give you marks if you perform well, and you will perform well if you are interested in that subject. If you go by this year's trend, I took political science, rank 2 took philosophy, rank 3 took Punjabi literature, rank 4 took medical sciences. So it's varied and we've scored the first 4 ranks. So it all depends on where your interest lies. So choose a subject of your interest, and of course other exigencies also play an important role in the sense that is coaching available for that subject or not, is the material there or not. But even more than that, it is your interest which matters the most. Mains, the syllabus is so vast that you can't do it this way that one day I'll study polity, then next day I'll study history, then third day geography, then fourth day optional. It doesn't work that way. The topics are so huge, so vast, so heavy that they take time. आप एक दिन में नहीं कर पाएंगे. You will take to finish one topic, you will take at least 2 to 3 days. So select, for instance, if we talk about paper 3, that's economics, science and technology and national security. So economics, there are around 7 to 8 topics. So Monday to Saturday, just do 7 to 8 topics, then give a test just for that economy section, and you are done with economy. So you just need to train your mind, and whenever you don't feel like studying, whenever you are bored, I think this is a very good pastime. Your decision of optional, your study of optional has to be very, very sincere. Why? Optional is for 500 marks. Optional will determine everything, because GS everybody is nearly marked the same. It's optional which will determine whether you make it to the list or not. So never treat the optional as lightly. Often we just study GS, we ignore optional. Don't do that. Optional deserves some respect. Give it that respect which a paper of 500 marks deserves. So you have to study, and you have to be very, very sure about which optional you are taking, why you are taking it. And of course we all can be smart. We know that okay, this optional is also a bit of it covers GS. I think all optionals except a few are part of GS somehow. So be very clever. When, for instance, I was a political science student, so I knew that political science student somehow also covers my IR and GS paper too. So when I used to study for that, I simultaneously ensured that my GS paper 2 was also getting prepared. So be smart, and nearly every optional has some portion in GS. So identify that and try to, while you are studying that, also try to cover that to save your time.
As part of every student's life, as well as even later in life, there are times when we feel very disappointed, we feel very anxious, there's a lot of fear. For instance, I'll speak about civil services examination. I think any aspirant preparing or those who are selected will agree with me that you have very downs, lows, and a lot of times you feel very depressed, very scared of what will happen. There's so much pressure. And I believe that at those times, whenever we are facing an exam and we are scared, we feel very anxious. I think at those times, you really have to have a bit of faith in yourself. But more importantly, always talk to your near and dear ones, your parents. They will always boost you, motivate you. And always keep in mind that it's not only you who feels this amount of fear, anxiousness, or that level of depression. It's nearly everybody else who feels the same. And whenever you talk to your parents, they will always remind you of why you've chosen this path, all the sacrifices you have made, they have made, and that will give you motivation.
If we talk about essay is also neglected. We do not do enough practice for essay, but actually you need to train your mind. क्योंकि क्या है, GS के answers तो 200 words के, 200-250 words के, and essay you have to suddenly write something ranging from 1000 to 1200 words. Now, how do we train our mind to write so much? It can only come with practice. Ideally, I believe कि अब prelims over हो गया है. Every 10 days you need to write one essay. And like what Athar said, that essays basically, come in two categories. One will be a bit philosophical in nature. So if few of us are creative, we can obviously go for that. But the other category would be current affairs based. तो वो general studies तो आप वैसे ही इतनी कर चुके होंगे कि that will come easy. And what Chandra Mohan said, that we know कि education पे आता है, women empowerment पे आता है, India's growth story पे आता है. So keep some ready facts. आप जब हिंदू या इंडियन एक्सप्रेस के एडिटोरियल पढ़ेंगे, कुछ ना कुछ स्टैटिस्टिक्स होंगी जो इससे रिलेटेड हैं, जो ऑफन आस्क्ड टॉपिक्स हैं. इट्स वेरी गुड इफ़ यू कैन हैव सम रेडी फैक्ट्स, रेडी कोटेशंस. कभी ना कभी तो हैंडी आ ही जाएंगे. बट येस, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि ठीक है, आई रिमेंबर दिस कोट, आई रिमेंबर दिस फैक्ट, अब यूज़ तो करना ही है, चाहे उसका मतलब बने या ना बने. सो ऐसे नहीं होना चाहिए. यूज़ ओनली दोज थिंग्स if they make sense for that topic. And like I said, even essay में अगर आपको लग रहा है कि आपके पास you don't have so many ideas या उतना content नहीं हो रहा है कि 1000 words बने, start thinking कि जो topic है उसके अगर कोई political implications है, economic implications है, social implications है, automatically when you will start thinking like this, अपने आप matter increase हो जाएगा. But what I said, that you have to practice one essay in every 10 days. क्योंकि अगर मान लीजिए GS में ड्यू टू सम रीज़न यू लूज़ मार्क्स समवेयर या कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं आया, सो अगर आपने ऐसे में डिसेंटली आपने अटेम्प्ट किया था, आप वहाँ मार्क्स स्कोर करेंगे एंड यू विल मेक अप. सो ऐसे एंड एथिक्स, ये दो पेपर हैं जिस पे वी आर नॉट वेरी श्योर ऑफ व्हाट इज आस्क्ड एंड वी ऑफन नेग्लेक्टेड. बट आई थिंक दीज टू पेपर्स आर एक्चुअली ब्राउनी स्कोरिंग पेपर्स, ब्राउनी पॉइंट्स मिलते हैं इसके. एथिक्स भी आप अगर जब इफ़ यू स्टार्टेड स्टडिंग एथिक्स यू विल रियलाइज कि इट्स नॉट what do you say, it's not really like GS, it's theoretical in nature, it has more of case studies, more philosophical. They want to know your opinions, what is integrity, what is emotional intelligence, what is empathy. So if you study decently for it you will really score good marks. And of course answer writing has to be done. Answer writing जो आप खुद एक one answer रोज लिखेंगे to you know how to structure your answer, plus answer writing in a test situation. 3 hours में 20-25 questions, 200 words each. Often we get scared about also this fact कि आता तो बहुत कुछ है but कैसे 200 words में, how do we write so much in 200 words, how will I realize what is important, what is not important. Now you know that depends from individual to individual कि आप उस test situation में किस चीज़ को priority देके finally आप क्या लिख के आते हैं. बट दैट प्रेशर इज़ सो मच कि इवन अगर आपके दिमाग में बहुत सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन होगी तब भी यू नो यूल बी लाइक हार्ड प्रेस्ड ऑन टाइम एंड यू विल राइट दोज थिंग्स ओनली विच इज़ द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट टू यू एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. सो डू नॉट वरी कि इतनी सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन कैसे फ़िल्टर करें उसी टाइम. एंड आइडली आई थिंक 7 to 8 minutes आप देते हैं एक आंसर के लिए, तो उस टाइम स्पैन को हमेशा दिमाग में रखिए व्हेन यू अटेम्प्ट द पेपर. एंड दैट बिकम्स इट बिकम्स manageable if you've done enough mock tests. So that is very very important. नहीं तो आप टाइम मैनेजमेंट नहीं सीखेंगे, आप आंसर राइटिंग नहीं सीखेंगे. एंड जैसे what even Atha said that you know sometimes you'll get a variety of questions. You'll get easy questions, direct questions, sometimes you'll get very twisted questions. So you'll get a feel of it कि जब आप फाइनली मेंस लिखने जाएंगे तो आपको हल्का ईजी लगेगा in comparison. And mains test series is always more difficult than the actual UPSC paper. Now these days what is the trend? The trend is current affairs, current affairs, current affairs. उस time भी जब when I wrote my mains, most questions even if they were say bit foundational but they were somehow linked to what was happening at that point of time. अगर GS paper 2 देखें, IR वाला जो part था, a question came from United Nations Security Council reforms and उस टाइम बहुत चर्चा चल रही थी इस बारे में. Then one question came from India-Africa relations because the India-Africa summit had taken place at that point of time. So when you'll read the paper every day, अभी आप ये जो 3-4 months paper पढ़ेंगे, automatically you will identify कि okay this is something important and it so track that because it might come in your mains test series, mains examination. So current affairs, I think apart from our GS paper 1 which is history, art and culture, geography, इसमें इतना करंट अफेयर्स बेस्ड यूजुअली नहीं होता. बट GS पेपर 2, GS पेपर 3, GS पेपर 4 द केस स्टडीज़ माइट समहाउ बी रिलेटेड. अगर कुछ करंट में कुछ हुआ हो सो केस स्टडीज़ माइट यू नो बी रिलेटेड टू दैट कि अगर कुछ अभी इंपॉर्टेंट कुछ हुआ हो इंसिडेंट एंड उस पर कोई केस स्टडी दे दी. बट GS पेपर 2, GS पेपर 3 एंड योर essay पेपर, this will be current affairs based. So it's very important that you do not neglect the newspaper reading. Newspaper reading has to be done even अभी मेंस के लिए भी at least for 2 hours every day. And जैसे आप मेंस टेस्ट सीरीज़ लेंगे तो ऑटोमेटिकली क्वेश्चन मेंस टेस्ट सीरीज़ में वही आएंगे जो according to the faculty they feel that okay this thing is important. राइनर को कि एक proper introduction है, proper main body है, proper conclusion है. Somehow you're also telling him or her that you're a very organized person. And they want people who are very logical in their thinking, very organized. And that will only come when you practice answer writing as well as answer writing in a test situation.
The newspaper में मैम पढ़ना क्या है? What do I really read in the newspaper? There's so much. So that is where knowing the syllabus helps you. If you've gone through the syllabus and if one thing you have to really memorize, it is the UPSC syllabus. So if you know the syllabus, अच्छा आपको पता है कि urbanization is the topic. If there's something reported about smart cities in the newspaper, automatically दिमाग connect करेगा, yeah, this is one thing which is important for my exam. So that is the art of reading the newspaper. When you're aware of what is the syllabus of UPSC, वो आपके दिमाग में ingrained हो गया है, internalize हो गया है, automatically newspaper reading will not appear such a big task. Like what Atha said, newspaper reading is extremely important. It is newspaper who will sail you through in prelims, mains, interview.
राइट. अभी तो आप प्रीलिम्स और मेंस के लिए ऑफ कोर्स वी आर नॉर्मल पीपल, वील रीड वन न्यूज़पेपर ड्यूरिंग द इंटरव्यू, मे बी 2 or 3, बट राइट नाउ जस्ट वन. इट मे बी हिंदू, इट मे बी इंडियन एक्सप्रेस, वॉट एवर सूट्स यू. राइट. ये पूरी जर्नी की सिविल सर्विस परीक्षा के लिए अपीयर होना है, बैठना है, ये काफ़ी पहले ही सोच लिया था. जब मैं 11वीं कक्षा में थी तब से ये सोच लिया था कि मुझे आगे जाकर एक करियर सिविल सर्विस. कॉलेज में मैं कहूँगी मैं अच्छी छात्रा थी. आई वॉज अ वेरी गुड स्टूडेंट. मैंने CBSE में पॉल साइंस में 100 on 100 लाई थी मैं.
अच्छा.
जब मैं कॉलेज में थी तो मैं अपने कॉलेज की बेस्ट स्टूडेंट हूँ. मैं यूनिवर्सिटी की टॉपर रही. एकेडमिक रिकॉर्ड बहुत स्ट्रांग था, शायद हमेशा से एक अच्छी स्टूडेंट रही. क्लास 10 के बाद बच्चे को पता ही क्या होता है, क्या करना है. और इंडिया में एक सोसाइटल परसेप्शन है कि अगर बच्चा एक अच्छा स्टूडेंट है तो वो नेसेसरीली या तो इंजीनियरिंग करेगा या इवन एक सोसाइटल प्रेशर बहुत ज़्यादा है कि हम शायद दूसरा ऑप्शन कंसिडर ही नहीं कर. मेरे दोनों माँ बाप खुद इंजीनियर्स हैं, पर उन्होंने देखा कि मुझे साइंस में कोई इतना खास इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. उनको लगा कि इनका इंटरेस्ट ज़्यादा राइटिंग स्किल में है, स्पीकिंग स्किल में है, इनमें लीडरशिप क्वालिटी, सोशल वर्क करना बहुत अच्छा लगता है. तो उनके हिसाब से सिविल सर्विसेज बहुत ही अच्छा ऑप्शन उभर कर आया. स्पेशली अगर हम इस एग्ज़ाम की बात करें, इस एग्ज़ाम में इतना वास्ट सिलेबस है, लिटरली एनीथिंग अंडर द सन इज आस्क्ड. तो जब इतना कॉम्प्लेक्स है एग्ज़ाम, इतना वास्ट है, तो एक प्रॉपर गाइडेंस की बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत पड़ जाती है. ऑल्सो बिकॉज ये एग्ज़ाम बहुत कॉम्पिटिटिव है. मैं फॉर्चुनेट थी कि मेरे काफ़ी सीनियर्स थे जिन्होंने बताया था कि नहीं, ऐसे पेपर बहुत स्कोरिंग है और बच्चे निगलेक्ट करते हैं. तो अगर मान लीजिए आप किसी और पेपर में बाय चांस कम मार्क्स ला रहे हैं तो इसमें आप गेन कर सकते हैं अगर आप इसमें अच्छे से परफॉर्म करें. तो मैंने ऐसे पे बहुत ध्यान दिया, क्योंकि मैं खुद ही ऑनेस्टली कहूँगी कि मैं उतनी क्रिएटिव नहीं हूँ कि मैं कोई एकदम बहुत ही फिलोसफिकल ऐसे लिख दूँ, बहुत ही बड़ी बातें कर दूँ. तो मैं यूजुअली करंट अफेयर्स ओरिएंटेड टॉपिक्स पे ही ऐसे लिखती थी. ये बहुत अच्छा है कि हमारे पास ऑप्शन होता है कि आप कौन सा टॉपिक उठा के लिख सकें, क्योंकि करंट अफेयर्स वैसे भी आप मेंस और प्रीलिम्स के लिए पढ़ ही रहे हैं तो आप यू आर कंफर्टेबल विद इट. बट मैंने प्रैक्टिस बहुत की. मैं हर हफ्ते आफ्टर प्रीलिम्स टिल माय मेंस एग्जाम में हर हफ्ते एक ऐसे लिखती थी. तो मुझे प्रैक्टिस बहुत थी. तो इग्नोर ना. ज्योग्राफी में मैं कहूँगी कि मैं हमेशा कोशिश करती थी कि अगर कोई डायग्राम बन सकता है तो बना दें. जो बोर्ड मेंबर्स हैं वो हर चीज़ आपकी एनालाइज करते हैं. आपकी ड्रेसिंग स्टाइल, आप अपने ओपिनियंस अच्छे से आर्टिकुलेट कर पा रहे हैं या नहीं हैं, आप कितने कंपैशनेट हैं इशूज़ को लेके, आप कितने सेंसिटिव हैं, आप अपने खुद के सब्जेक्ट में कितने एक्सपर्ट हैं. तो आपकी हर चीज़ टेस्ट होती है.
तो करंट अफेयर्स अगर 50-60% क्वेश्चंस दे रहा है और अगर हम 2 घंटा दिन का उसको नहीं देते हैं, और इफ़ वी गिव 2 hours और इवन 3 hours बट वी डोंट प्रिपेयर इट वेल, सो व्हाट्स द पॉइंट. एंड उसी से हमारे चांसेस ऑफ गेटिंग सिलेक्टेड डिम हो जाते हैं. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, न्यूज़पेपर रीडिंग इज़ नॉट अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट थिंग. एंड लाइक माई कॉलीग्स वे पॉइंटिंग आउट कि न्यूज़ चैनल्स पे, राज्यसभा पे डिबेट आता है, या आप जो भी देख रहे हैं, वट एवर इज़ योर सोर्स, अगर जस्ट by knowing this UPSC syllabus by heart, you will be able to distinguish what is right and what is relevant and what is not relevant for you. कि UPSC में सिलेक्शन, क्योंकि मेहनती तो बहुत लोग हैं, और यू नो नन ऑफ अस कैन वाउच हियर कि हम बहुत एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी थे या हमने इतनी मेहनत कर ली कि हमसे ज़्यादा किसी ने मेहनत की नहीं. ऐसा है नहीं. इनफैक्ट वी कैन ऑल हियर टेल यू दैट वी नो probably people who have worked hard even more than us. But you know, that's what the UPSC game is all about. It is not just about hard work or studying very very hard, studying day and night. Like Gandharva said कि उसने concise study की थी. It is also about smart study. So it's high time, since like Athar pointed out that the exam is so competitive. आप ना ही first attempt वालों के साथ compete कर रहे हैं, आप उसके साथ भी compete कर रहे हैं जो 6th time अपना attempt दे रहा है. And not only, you know, from your stream, engineers, doctors, MBAs, arts graduate, commerce graduate, सब बैठते हैं एग्जाम के लिए. So the competition is that tough, and as we all know, success rate सिर्फ 0.01% है. So we have to rise to the occasion and also realize कि सिर्फ मेहनत काम नहीं आती, थोड़ा स्मार्टली भी पढ़ना पड़ता है. तो वो स्मार्टनेस कैसे आएगी जब आपको सिलेबस इतने अच्छे से आता हो कि मुझे क्या पढ़ना है क्या नहीं पढ़ना. Since UPSC is also about the art of what not to study, right? So my first sincere advice to all of you is कि UPSC syllabus आपके टिप्स पे हो. When we go for studying prelims, of course, people who are not very well versed or who have forgotten NCERTs of class 10th, 11th, 12th, of course, guys, you have to go back and study them. That makes your base. तो NCERT से कभी कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं आएगा, बट अगर आपने NCERT पढ़ा नहीं है तो जो बाकी बेसिक बुक्स हैं उनको समझने में आपको बहुत दिक्कत आएगी. So that is why everybody says NCERT पढ़ो, NCERT पढ़ो. So for building a good base, reading NCERTs is important. Your next step is, for instance, I think many of you must have joined coaching. या अगर coaching नहीं भी जा रहे हैं फिर भी थोड़ा idea है कि क्या पढ़ना होता है क्या नहीं पढ़ना होता है. So of course, do your class notes, do the coaching material that they hand out to you. Plus जो recommended books हैं कि जैसे पॉलिटी के लिए हम सब लक्ष्मीकांत पढ़ते हैं, हिस्ट्री के लिए हम सब बिपिन चंद्रा पढ़ते हैं, तो वो आपको साइड जो भी टॉपिक क्लास में करा रहे हैं, क्लास नोट्स, कोचिंग मटेरियल प्लस वो बुक भी करते जानी है. एंड कभी भी फॉर इंस्टेंस पीपल आस्क मी हाउ डू वी स्टडी, तो कभी भी स्टडी बस पढ़ने से नहीं होता. व्हाट यू हैव टू डू इज पहले क्लास नोट्स रिवाइज करिए, क्लास मटेरियल पढ़िए, उसके बाद जो प्रिस्क्राइब्ड बुक है वो पढ़िए. और फोर्थ स्टेप विच इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इज प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन पेपर्स में जो उसी टॉपिक से क्वेश्चन आए उसे सॉल्व करके देखिए. क्या आप सॉल्व कर पा रहे हैं? अगर आप सॉल्व कर पा रहे हैं मतलब फिर आपने यूपीएससी लेवल की पढ़ाई कर ली है, और अगर नहीं तो मतलब कुछ छूटा है, दोबारा उस टॉपिक को करिए. सो that is a wholesome strategy of preparing, and that is full proof study. You will at least have इतना पढ़ने के बाद एक सब्जेक्ट में confidence that yes I have done this well. Of course अब इसमें भी है, since all of us come from different fields, some of us are strong in say history, some of us will be strong in science, some of us will be strong in economics etc. So of course वीकनेस को इम्प्रूव करना है टू एन एक्सटेंट, बट अपनी स्ट्रेंथ पे भी फोकस करना है. कभी अपनी स्ट्रेंथ को अपनी वीकनेस नहीं बनाना है. सो व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट हियर इज प्लानिंग. प्लानिंग एट द सेम टाइम शुड नॉट बी वेरी रिगरस, लाइक विपिन सेड कि बहुत बड़ा टाइम टेबल बना दिया और कभी उस पर कुछ अमल ही नहीं किया, वी नेवर फॉलोड इट एंड देन वी वेंट इनटू डिप्रेशन. सो कभी ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. बट येस एक टाइम फ्रेम तो होना चाहिए, क्योंकि यूपीएससी में इतने सब्जेक्ट्स हैं, इतना कुछ पढ़ने को है कि अगर आप कभी ट्रैक नहीं रखेंगे कि आप क्या कर रहे हैं तो समहाउ आफ्टर अ सर्टेन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम यू विल फील वेरी लॉस्ट. तो हम काफ़ी बार आई मीट अ लॉट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स जो बहुत पढ़ते हैं बट बैठ के कोई आंसर ही नहीं लिखते. तो चाहे जितना भी पढ़ ले, कितना भी मेहनत से कर ले, बट इफ़ यू डोंट गेट डाउन टू द आर्ट ऑफ आंसर राइटिंग, प्रैक्टिसिंग आंसर राइटिंग, it is of absolutely no use. And ठीक है, some of us are from the humanities, so we are in a habit of writing answers, but that doesn't make a difference because the answers I wrote in my college for instance are very different, and the answers we are required to write for UPSC are entirely very different. Here you are given a very big question which can go on in pages and pages, but you are required to formulate all your thoughts and pen them down in 200 or 250 words. एंड बहुत डिफिकल्ट होता है क्योंकि इतना यूपीएससी के टाइम पढ़ लेते हैं कि इन्फॉर्मेशन ओवरलोड हो जाता है. सो हाउ टू राइट देम नाइसली ब्यूटिफुली इन 200 or 250 वर्ड्स, एंड इट इज़ डिफिकल्ट. एंड लाइक माई अदर कॉलीग्स पॉइंटेड आउट कि काफ़ी बार वी राइट रियली बैड आंसर्स. एंड अगेन अ थिंग विच हैपन्स इन आंसर राइटिंग इज घर पे तो हमने 2-3 घंटा लगा के एक बहुत अच्छा आंसर लिख लिया, बट एग्जामिनेशन पॉइंट पे आपको 3 घंटे में 20, कभी किसी पेपर में 20 क्वेश्चंस होते हैं, कभी 25 होते हैं. 20 to 25 क्वेश्चंस यू हैव टू राइट आंसर्स इन 200-250 वर्ड्स इन 3 hours. सो सोचो कितना बड़ा चैलेंज है सामने और उसके लिए कितनी प्रैक्टिस चाहिए. सो अगेन इसके लिए अगर आप मेंस टेस्ट सीरीज ज्वाइन करेंगे तो रोज आपकी आई थिंक एक हफ्ते में एक एग्जाम होगी. आप एग्जामिनेशन सिचुएशन में देयर विल बी पीपल हु विल स्नैच योर पेपर इन 3 hours. सो यू विल बी इन ट्यून कि कैसे 3 घंटे में 20 से 25 क्वेश्चन 200 वर्ड में आप लिख सकते हैं. एंड आई कैन टेल यू फ्रॉम माई ओन एक्सपीरियंस कि जब मैंने अपनी फर्स्ट मॉक मेंस टेस्ट सीरीज दी थी, 20 क्वेश्चन थे, इन 3 hours आई कुड ओनली राइट 14 आंसर्स. एंड आई एम अ ह्यूमैनिटीज ग्रेजुएट, सो मुझे तो आना चाहिए ना लिखना, बट आई कुड जस्ट राइट 14. एंड आई ऑल्सो रिमेंबर द डे जब हमारी एथिक्स एग्जाम थी, and a lot of people could not finish their question paper in the allotted time in my center, and probably when जो भी center में exam दे रहे थे, when we discussed, I emerged as the only person who had completed the ethics paper, क्योंकि मुझ में तब तक एक आदत डेवलप हो गई थी कि 3 घंटे में हम वो सारे आंसर्स लिख लें. सो दैट इज हाउ टेस्ट सीरीज में वो एग्जामिनेशन कंडीशन में लेना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. सेकेंडली जो टेस्ट सीरीज कंडक्ट करा रहे हैं, फॉर इंस्टेंस KST, दे आर वेरी ओल्ड प्लेयर्स, दे नो क्या ट्रेंड है, क्या पूछा जाएगा, अभी इस साल में क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है, व्हाट आर द लाइकली टॉपिक्स टू बी टेस्टेड. तो आप जब टेस्ट देने जाएंगे तो आपको भी पता चलेगा अच्छा इस टॉपिक से क्वेश्चन आ रहा है, सो प्रॉब्लली दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट. इट विल ऑल्सो गिव यू डायरेक्शन कि चलो इस पर फोकस करना है, ये दीज टॉपिक्स आर नॉट सीमिंग दैट इंपॉर्टेंट, तो वी कैन गिव इट अ रेस्ट. So that is how it is. That is how taking test series helps. Similarly, ऐसे का भी सेम होता है. ऐसे हम जितना प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, अभी जैसे मान लीजिए अगले साल प्रीलिम्स दे रहे हैं तो हर 15 दिन में एक ऐसे लिखो, जिससे एक आइडिया लगे कि हम ऐसे लिखते कैसे हैं, हाउ डू वी फॉर्मुलेट इट. एंड आई since we are discussing answer writing, I hope all of you have this booklet with you. So you know, I know it is very difficult और हम सब तो बोलते रहेंगे, but actually लिखना कैसे है वो मैं थोड़ा हेल्प करना चाहूँगी इसमें. It's not the correct answer or the best answer or the only answer, but just कि मैं कैसे अप्रोच करती अगर मैं ये क्वेश्चन पढ़ती. So in this booklet, if we look at the first question, paper 1, critically discuss the strategy of territorial integration in post-independent era. Now, if you are faced with such a question, सबसे पहले तो हमें ये देखना है कि क्या क्या कीवर्ड्स हैं इस क्वेश्चन में. सो टेरिटोरियल इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ कोर्स एंड पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस एरा. एंड व्हाट डू वी हैव टू डू विद दीज टू वर्ड्स? स्ट्रैटेजी एंड क्रिटिकली. सो व्हेन वी डाइसेक्ट द क्वेश्चन थोड़ा इजी हो जाता है. एकदम से क्वेश्चन पढ़ेंगे तो किसी भी बिगनर को लगेगा कि वो दिस साउंड्स लाइक अ वेरी टफ थिंग टू डू, बट इट इज नॉट. सो वी डाइसेक्ट इट. सेकेंडली, I used to follow this. This is only my way. My colleagues may have other ways. You guys may have your own other way. But I'm just giving a standard. So, अगर कोई भी आंसर लिखना हो तो एक हमेशा दिमाग में मैं ये ब्रेकअप फॉलो करती थी that if there are 200-250 words, so the first 50 words would be my introduction. ठीक है? The next 100 to 120 words would be my main body and the last 20-30 words will be my conclusion. So अगर हम थोड़ा एक स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मेट में अगर लिखने की कोशिश करते हैं तो मुझे लगता है एक तो हम ऑर्गेनाइज्ड हो जाते हैं अपने आंसर राइटिंग में, प्लस समहाउ वी आर ऑल्सो सॉर्ट ऑफ गिविंग द एग्जामिनर अ बिट ऑफ ईज इन चेकिंग. उसको भी एक ही विल एक्सपेक्ट कि क्या करने वाला है. पहले इंट्रोड्यूस करेगा, अपने पॉइंट्स लिखेगा एंड ही विल कंक्लूड फाइनली वॉट एवर ही और शी हैज़ टू से. Right. So if we look at this question, strategy of territorial integration in post-independent era. तो अगर मुझे इसका इंट्रोडक्शन लिखना हो तो इंट्रोडक्शन में एक बहुत ही चीज़ जो काम आती है वो है बैकग्राउंड देना. तो अगर हम टेरिटोरियल इंटीग्रेशन इन पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस एरा की बात कर रहे हैं तो इसका मतलब है वी आर समहाउ टॉकिंग अबाउट the time when we just got independence, the time when the country faced partition and the time जब बहुत ही पैनिक था, बहुत ही अफरा तफरी मची हुई थी एंड एक टर्मोइल था जनरल कंट्री में. सो we start our answer with a brief introduction in 50 words, what was the time about. एंड क्योंकि टाइम ऐसा था तो हमारे जो लीडर्स थे उस टाइम के, बी एट पटेल, बी एट गांधी, बी एट नेहरू जी, उनकी क्या सोच थी उस सिचुएशन को लेके कि बिकॉज कंट्री ने पार्टीशन फेस किया था, सो वी वर हेल बेंट ऑन हैविंग अ वेरी यूनिफाइड नेशन, वी वर हेल बेंट ऑन यूनिटी एंड इंटीग्रिटी. सो यू put 50 words of this as your introduction, as a background कि हम क्यों हम इस क्वेश्चन को एड्रेस करें और इसकी क्या भूमिका है. So that somehow tells the examiner, oh, this person is thinking broadly, context establish कर रहा है. So in the introduction we are establishing the context. Then in the main body, then you start writing, because जो main body है वो सबको पता है, सबने लक्ष्मीकांत पढ़ा है, सबने पॉलिटी पढ़ा है कि टेरिटोरियल इंटीग्रेशन का क्या प्रोसेस था, कैसे हमने प्रिंसली स्टेट्स को इंटीग्रेट किया, कैसे किया, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. दैट यू राइट, बट इफ यू गिव द कॉन्टेक्स्ट इट समहाउ मेक्स योर आंसर much more beautiful and much more organized. So you give the context and then in the end you have to conclude. So of course I think all of us here believe कि जो हमारा इंटीग्रेशन प्रोसेस था आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस की सारी स्टेट्स को हमने साथ में लेके आए, इट वॉज अ सक्सेस. सो यू राइट, येस इट हैज़ बीन अ सक्सेस, दो कुछ ना कुछ दिक्कतें आती हैं, बट वी स्टिल ट्राई टू रिजॉल्व इट एंड इन अ डेमोक्रेटिक सेटअप वट एवर इट हैज़ बीन वेरी गुड फॉर द कंट्री एंड जो भी है. एंड आप ये भी लिख सकते हैं कि एज कम्पेयर टू अदर कंट्रीज, पाकिस्तान और बांग्लादेश जैसे पहले एक थे वो सेपरेट हो गए, तो हमने ऐसी टेंडेंसीज आने नहीं दी, ऐसे करके ख़त्म कर दो. सो इट इज़ अ होलसम आंसर वेयर ऑफकोर्स द मेन बॉडी हैज़ ऑल द मेन पॉइंट्स ऑफ द प्रोसेस ऑफ इंटीग्रेशन. द इंट्रोडक्शन हैज़ गिव यू अ बैकग्राउंड, अ कॉन्टेक्स्ट, why you are writing this, and the conclusion ki what you feel about the whole integration process, if it's a success or it's not or whatever is the issue. So that is how we write a comprehensive answer. तो आप जितने क्वेश्चन करेंगे it must have some, I have not checked, it must have 800 to 1000, I don't know how many questions, but that's a lot. इसमें से even if you are able to do 300 to 500 questions, it's more than enough. बहुत प्रैक्टिस हो जाएगी. जैसे मैं आपको कॉन्फिडेंटली अभी एक चीज़ बता रही हूँ क्योंकि मैंने बहुत प्रैक्टिस किया था, तो जब आप प्रैक्टिस करने लग जाएंगे आप इस पोजीशन में होंगे कि आप मुझे बता पाएं कि अगर ये क्वेश्चन है तो इसका मैं कैसे एक बहुत ही ऑर्गेनाइज तरीके से आंसर लिख सकता हूँ या लिख सकती हूँ. सो यू नो दैट इज माई स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ गिविंग एन आंसर. सिमिलरली अगर ऐसे की बात करें तो ऐसे में भी 2 ऐसे आते हैं. सो आई थिंक ईच ऐसे हैज़ टू बी 1050 वर्ड्स इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग. सो इसमें भी योर फर्स्ट 150 वर्ड्स हैज़ टू बी अ बैकग्राउंड, अ कॉन्टेक्स्ट एंड इंट्रोडक्शन, जैसा भी है. यू कैन पुट कोट्स जैसे भी आपको ठीक लगे, बट इट हैज़ टू बी कंटेक्स्ट एस्टैब्लिशिंग. फिर आपकी मेन बॉडी है. मेन बॉडी में काफ़ी लोग डरते हैं कि ऐसे में 1000 वर्ड्स लिखने, इतना कहाँ से लाएंगे मटीरियल. तो इसकी भी एक ट्रिक है. मान लीजिए कोई भी इशू हो, लाइक अथर वॉज टॉकिंग अबाउट मीडिया बीइंग द 4th पिलर ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी. अगर आप वही टॉपिक पे हम बात करते हैं तो कोई, चाहे ये टॉपिक हो या कोई और भी हो, तो इफ़ वी वांट टू हैव मोर पॉइंट्स एंड वी वांट टू टेल द एग्जामिनर दैट लिसन, आई एम अ पर्सन हु हैज़ अ वेरी ब्रॉड विजन, अ ब्रॉड हराइजन, एंड मेरी मल्टीपल पॉइंट्स ऑफ व्यू वाली थिंकिंग है, मेरी नैरो थिंकिंग नहीं है. तो ये दिखाने के लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं, जो भी इशू हो उसको एनालाइज करो कि पॉलिटिकली उसका क्या इम्प्लीकेशन है, इकोनॉमिकली उसका क्या इम्प्लीकेशन है, सोशली क्या है, सोशियोलॉजिकली, फिलोसफिकली, इंडिविजुअली, सोसाइटी लेवल पे क्या इम्प्लीकेशन है. तो आप जब खुद ये अपने दिमाग में डायमेंशंस रखेंगे ना, आप खुद सोचने लगेंगे अच्छा ये टॉपिक है, अच्छा पॉलिटिकली तो इसका ये इम्पैक्ट हो सकता है, अच्छा सोसाइटी के लेवल पे दिक्कत आ सकती है. तो खुद आप एनालाइज करेंगे और आप लिखेंगे, आपका आंसर की वर्ड लिमिट आराम से बढ़ जाएगी. सेकेंडली आप एग्जामिनर को ये प्रूव कर देंगे कि देखो ये बंदा एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी इन द सेंस कि ये बंदा सिर्फ एक थिंकिंग नहीं रखता, इसकी मल्टीपल ब्रॉड थिंकिंग है, ये हर लेवल ऑफ सोसाइटी की तरफ से सोचने की हिम्मत रखता है. एंड दैट इज वॉट यूपीएससी इज लुकिंग फॉर. दे वॉन्ट पीपल हु डोंट ओनली थिंक फ्रॉम वेयर दे कम फ्रॉम, दे हैव द कैपेसिटी टू थिंक फ्रॉम एवरी साइड, एवरी स्ट्राटा ऑफ सोसाइटी. तो ये हम अपने आंसर्स में भी ये कैपेसिटी, ये कैपेबिलिटी डेवलप करते हैं. Lastly, 2-3 things only. Like Gandharva pointed out a very important point that sleep is important in the sense that 7 to 8 hours of sleep is of paramount importance. क्योंकि जब अगर आप सोएंगे नहीं, आपको लगेगा कि भाई यूपीएससी अब तो 4 बजे से मॉर्निंग में उठ के पढ़ेंगे, तो इससे क्या होगा, आपका माइंड हमेशा थका रहेगा. और यूपीएससी ऐसी चीज़ है कि इतनी पढ़ाई करनी पड़ती है, इतनी क्रिएटिविटी खुद में लानी पड़ती है कि एक फ्री माइंड चाहिए, एक वेल रेस्टेड माइंड चाहिए. तो अगर अपने माइंड को आप रेस्ट ही नहीं देंगे, सो यू वोंट बी एबल टू थिंक बियॉन्ड व्हाट यू हैव टू डू, और डू वट एवर यू आर डूइंग मोर ऑर्गेनाइज्ड, इन अ मोर ऑर्गेनाइज्ड मैनर, या और अच्छे से. सो 7 to 8 hours ऑफ स्लीप यू कांट कॉम्प्रोमाइज. नहीं तो आप कैसे इतना याद कैसे रखेंगे जो इतना याद करना है. इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट. Secondly, have a very proper diet, and if you can, please, like what she said, develop a hobby, play a sport, because somehow कोई physical activity हो या कोई intellectual creative ability आप develop करना चाहें, वो somehow आपको एक mental peace, एक mental contentment देती है, जो आपको ये stress, depression, anxiety, इन सब चीज़ों को fight करने में बहुत help देती है. राइट. सो इफ़ यू कैन, किसी को म्यूज़िक देखना अच्छा लगता है, म्यूज़िक सुनना अच्छा लगता है, कोई पिक्चर देखना अच्छा लगता है, तो हाँ 15 दिन में 2 घंटे 3 घंटे की पिक्चर देख के आ सकते हैं, बिकॉज यू नीड अ ब्रेक ऑल्सो. फ्रेंड्स, आई नो इट इज़ अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट जर्नी, इट इज़ अ वेरी स्कैरी जर्नी, बट हो जाता है, सब हो जाता है अगर चीज़ें थोड़ी हम हल्का प्लान कर लें, अपने आप पे भी ध्यान दें, पढ़ाई पे भी ध्यान दें, थोड़े डिस्ट्रैक्शंस अवॉइड करें. इफ़ फॉर 1 year वी कैन सैक्रिफाइस मीटिंग फ्रेंड्स, सैक्रिफाइस आवर फेसबुक टाइम, यूट्यूब टाइम, जो भी है, इट ऑल वर्क्स. गिव इट योर बेस्ट शॉट, क्योंकि बहुत कॉम्पिटिशन है, बहुत लोग आपसे ज़्यादा मेहनत कर रहे हैं. सो जस्ट गिव इट योर बेस्ट, एंड ट्रस्ट मी, अगर आप मेहनत करेंगे, 1 साल वो सारे सैक्रिफाइसेस कर लेंगे, इट इज़ वेरी पॉसिबल एंड यू विल डू इट. हम सबका हो गया तो आपका क्यों नहीं हो सकता.
UPSC interview is the most scariest moment of your life. This will determine a lot of things. This will determine my rank, my service, my cadre, or whatever. This is going to determine a lot of things. And what if I don't speak well today? What if I don't know the question? So a lot of things keep happening. But the moment you reach the door and you knock on the door and they say come in, and you greet them and they smile at you, then things become okay. Because even they know that the child is scared, the student is scared. So they'll smile at you, they'll be kind, they'll be supportive. They even give you hints if they think that with the hint you'll be able to answer it more properly. So it's a rumor, it's that they eat you and they grill you. Of course they grill you, but they're very kind and supportive. They are. And in the interview, they will try to evaluate you from all aspects. They will ask you about your optional subject. They will ask you about your graduation. So a lot of times, especially engineers, they they are not really confident about their graduation. Of course, it makes sense if you have a degree in any subject. Might be arts, you might be a doctor, you might be an engineer, you might be an MBA graduate. If you have a degree in something, it just shows that you are supposed to be the expert in that subject. And if you are not, then there's a big question mark on you, and the interview board of course will not be impressed. So it's just that when after your mains end, don't think that now I'll go on an extended vacation to Hawaii. No, you can take a day or two off, but after that you really need to go back to what was done in college, like to be in touch with what was done. Of course they understand that it's been a while that you haven't been doing engineering, so they would not expect you to know everything, but yes, the basic stuff, engineering or whatever field you come from. Then of course you have to again go back to your optional. They keep going back to the optional. Then of course they'll ask you a lot about what's happening around you. So right now we read one paper, after mains you have to read 3, but then you don't have to study other things, right? So you have to read 3 newspapers, 2 national dailies and 1 newspaper exclusively dedicated to economics. So you may either read the Business Standard or you may either read the Economic Times, but it has to be an economics related paper, because in February and March first week you'll have the budget and the economic survey coming in, and everybody has to study that, because of course that's what the parliament will be talking about, so that's what the interview board also will be talking about. Apart from that, they might give you situational problems. Alka Sirohi ma'am gave me a situational puzzle. And for instance, the person who was before me was working with the Ministry of Agriculture. So now the discussion might have carried on. So when my turn came, even I was asked 2 agriculture questions. So you might suffer from bad luck like that. Like I had absolutely no connect with agriculture. But then this is UPSC and you have to be prepared for everything. But since you will do so much reading of GS, that you will somehow, of course you can't know everything, but you will somehow know something about everything. That is the beauty of UPSC. It just educates you like anything. When we prepare for this exam, take it as an opportunity not only to increase your knowledge base, but like what I started with, it is going to transform you into a new person. You will suddenly feel that you are one person who now knows a lot of things, and you're a very responsible citizen and you know about your rights. Yes, that is true. Also take it as an opportunity to cultivate yourself as someone who has good speaking skills, because interview is all about communication. They need to understand what you really want to say. Take it as an opportunity to develop yourself as a leader. Take it as an opportunity to even change your opinions. For instance, a lot of times, a lot of my own male friends, of course, they would say they believe in gender equality. They would say that they believe that, oh no, women are as good as men are in studies or whatever. But somehow misogyny resides deep in their heart. And in interviews, so you might bluff it in prelims, you might not show it in mains, but in interview, when you are under so much pressure, when 5 eyes are staring only at you, somehow you will forget all the pretense, all the acting that you are supposed to do, and things will come out. So if you are someone who believes in religious discrimination, caste discrimination, gender discrimination, this is the time you change yourself, because it comes out. It just comes out somehow, and you just play with your own chances. Then you'll feel yourself so bad that you came all the way till interview, and just because you said something, you offended the board some way, and then you have to sit for it again. Let me come to the motivating part, since even that is very important. And when we see our counterparts, when we see our friends who are probably pursuing masters or who are in jobs, we see our boyfriends, we see our girlfriends, and we don't feel good about ourselves. And believe me, that's true. That happens to everyone. This is a very difficult journey, and all of you are very brave that you've decided to undertake it. Not many people have those guts. And always whenever you have that demotivating day, when you don't feel good about yourself, just remember this happens to every aspirant. Everyone who's sitting next to you, if you're feeling this today, he or she will feel that the other day. So it's very normal. Just think it is part of the process of giving the UPSC examination, feeling bad. So feeling bad goes along with giving UPSC examination. And I was fortunate I could do it in my first attempt, but I have been traveling across the country and I've been meeting a lot of people, a lot of selected candidates, and I will share only one example with you right now. So I some 20-25 days back I was in Hyderabad, and I met this lady officer who's got selected along with me, and her story is truly inspiring. And her story is really heartwarming. It touches your heart. So this very lovely lady got married really young, and even when she was with her parents before marriage, she used to be discriminated against her brothers. Her brothers were given more educational opportunities, more love and attention, which is the usual case in India in general, many a times, unfortunately. Now, they got her married, but she was very interested in giving civil services. It was her passion, it was her interest, she wanted to go for it. But even her in-laws did not support, her husband did not support. So we keep on hearing a lot of examples where, okay, the financial circumstances were not right, but family supported. Here, neither the financial circumstances were good, neither was there any support, nor from her parents, her brothers, her husband, her in-laws. But then this girl wanted to give the exam. So she still, fought against everybody, and she said, no, I'm going to sit for the exam. So she gave her first attempt and she failed. Now again, we know how the rishtedars are, how everybody is like, तुमसे कुछ नहीं होने वाला, घर बैठो, खाना बनाओ, बच्चे पैदा करो. But she wanted to. She gave a second attempt. Again she failed. She had to listen so much from her parents, in-laws, everybody in society, everybody. Then she sat for her third attempt. She again failed. And her husband started living away from her. And that's something big, I think women here will realize. But she wanted to become a civil servant. So she gave a fourth attempt. And finally she made it. And she's got selected into the Indian Foreign Service. So, that's the passion we are talking about. Because, the routine gets boring. You get up every day, you study so many hours, you go to coaching, you come back. It gets boring after a while. And then, your mind starts getting distracted that, oh, I don't want to study. So it is, of course, very difficult. But if you have targets set for every day, like I used to plan things for 3 months in advance, that for the next 3 months, this is what I'm going to do every day. The scheduling took a whole day to make, but then for the rest of the 3 months, I was pretty sorted. So when I had targets every day, that okay, today I'm going to complete this, and if I don't complete this today, then my next day target is also there. So I'll just have so much backlog. So if you have targets every day, if you have planned, if you have some planning, you have some timetable, you have some schedule, then things become a bit easier, and you're more easier in the sense you're able to force yourself to study. That if I don't study, then this will get, I will not finish this, then iska backlog ho jayega. So if you have targets every day. So one thing which always helps is that for answer writing, we follow a standard format in which there will be 2 to 3 lines of introduction, then there will be a main body, and then we'll have again 4 to 5 lines of conclusion. So if you follow this format in every question, in every answer, the good thing is you're trying to project to the examiner that you're very logical in your thoughts, you're very organized in your thoughts. So one thing you can do is this. The next thing is, a lot of times, because UPSC would never ask you direct questions, they'll ask you very twisted questions. So actually the real fight is to understand what they're actually asking. So I think take 30 to 40 seconds just to understand the question, what exactly is being asked, and then try to elaborate that in the answer. So people who understand the question well, they get good marks. And most people, we just start panicking just by looking at the question, and we don't really take out time to understand the question, and then we write anything and we don't get marks. So that is the second thing you need to be careful. If you practice one answer every day after your prelims, I think in a month you'll be able to write good answers. But it takes a month, so don't get disheartened. And of course, when you'll begin writing, you'll take nearly 15-20 minutes for one answer, when in fact in exam you only get some 6.5 to 7 minutes. But that will happen when you are writing your mains. So don't worry if right at the outset, right at the beginning, you're taking 15 to 20 minutes. It is natural. Everybody does that. And gradually in a month, you'll be cool with it. Making notes is very important, because even it's a scientific fact that you'll be able to remember something which was written in your hand and not printed text.
Yeah.
So it even works that way. You somehow recall more if something was written in your own hand, by your own hand. So, but at the same time, a lot of time, what happens is you read the paper and you feel important, I'll write it down, and we end up writing the whole paper down. And it takes like 5 hours.
Yeah.
And then we're like, ab kya kare, din waste ho gaya. So, we can't even afford to do that. What I used to do is, and my advice to you is, that you read the papers every day, 2 hours, very religiously, regularly, even underline, it's fine, just underline. Don't do anything, underline, because when we underline, we sort of even underline it in our brain that, okay, this was important. We underline it, and by the end of the month, when we get the current affairs supplement from the coaching, it gets very easy to learn that. You will, a lot of people think कि अच्छा ये तो current affair magazine मिलती है market में, या material है coaching का, so what's the point of reading the paper? There is a point. That point is that you will never be able to memorize that coaching material if you've not read the paper every day.
Right.
So paper every day keeps that stuff in your head, so that when you really have to memorize and analyze and the coaching material, वो तभी याद होगा. Because of course coaching will identify only those topics which are exam relevant, and even you will be following them every day in the newspaper. If you don't do that, you will never be able, you will forget that, and you will find memorizing current affairs a very big task. So that is one thing. About what notes to be actually make.
Yeah, because suppose we are reading editorials and also there are certain viewpoints which can be used later on in analysis.
So you can of course, that is one very good thing which has to be done, that whenever you find say somebody like, let's say Amrita Sen only, he writes an article and you, oh, this is something very wonderful and I need to take it down. Of course you can take that down. Apart from that, we know there are some topics which are important. For instance, during my time, smart cities and urbanization, that was very hot, and everybody just used to every day report about that only, and we knew some question will come. We were also aware that okay, this is something upcoming, it might be relevant for the exam. So this is one topic, so just following that topic in writing, and every day if things are being reported, that means just one line will be important every day. So just pick up that one line and write it down on a paper. So I am not writing the whole paper down. I am not taking all topics of the paper, today's paper down. I am just picking up, identifying one theme which might be important for the exam and just tracking that individually. Others, for other topics, the coaching is there. Why do we join coaching? We join coaching so that some headache is given to them. And they take over the headache of researching what is important for us. Yes, that is what the coaching is supposed to do. So make use of the resources. But there is absolutely no substitute to reading the newspaper. You will never memorize anything of current affairs if you are not reading the paper.
I think it all began in the year 2014. My life was no different than that of an ordinary IAS aspirant. A student buried neck deep with books, newspapers, magazines, notes, maps, falana tikana. And I think my only privilege was that I was living in Delhi, which offers you so many opportunities. And I was born in a middle-class family, parents who could have given me this education. But if I look back, what really sailed me through these stormy days of preparation were two things: persistence and perseverance. I am of the opinion that you can be an IITian, you can be an MBA graduate, You can be a doctor from AIIMS. You can be an Ivy League graduate. You could be the next Einstein. But what really sails you through this examination is the ability to go through that monotonous routine, that rigorous routine of studying 8 hours every day, to somewhat not break that cycle, to still go through those long stretch of hours on a daily basis. So, back to my story, the exam came in the year 2015 and it went away in 2016. On May 10th, 2016, when the results had to be announced and all candidates were holding their breath, including me, that moment arrived. And I can't even begin to describe how it felt to have secured the first rank. How unbelievable it felt, that feeling of victory, that feeling of triumph. But, and that's the sad part and the hard part, this success did not come to me walking with with a bouquet in hand. This success did not welcome me with open arms. I think I am probably the only topper of this prestigious examination who was made to feel so bad about her success. And I think that time, for the first time, I realized how brutal, how unforgiving, how non-understanding Indian society can be. How one individual can be targeted for entire systems and structures that the Indian society lives in, survives in, and just how easy it is for people to sit back comfortably in their home and abuse somebody on the internet. Target one individual for something which is still very hotly debated and contested in India. I can't even begin to describe the psychological trauma that 22-year-old who had just cleared the exam had to go through. And I can't tell you how it felt that suddenly the eyes and ears of the nation were on me. But let me tell you, I had never felt more responsible in my whole life. Responsible towards this nation, towards this society, towards this family, towards my family, towards myself. To prove my worth, my credibility. So I just decided there and then, I would never let any negativity wipe the smile off my face. And I went to the IAS Academy in Mussoorie with an open heart and mind, with a single-minded goal of excelling. Now, many of you have heard about the IAS Academy in Mussoorie, and with all its beauty and splendors, I would like to tell you that it's not a vacationing spot. It's a highly competitive space where everybody is pushed to their potential. And if you don't actively participate in your training, you lose your rank. Your rank changes. So here I was again, back to square one. The rigorous schedule of doing hard work, of being sincere, of being dedicated to a cause was back, because here I again had to face competition from the cream of the country. Now, I was just like most of you, right out of Delhi University, with not much experience of the real world, with absolutely no work experience. And here I was competing with MBA graduates, with IIT engineers, with doctors. What will happen to a mere political science graduate like me? I had to compete in subjects like management, like economics, जिसमें मैं उतनी अच्छी नहीं थी. So how do I do? I used to spend long hours कि कैसे कुछ तो आ जाए. I used to take help from my batchmates. I used to take help from the faculty so that even if I can't be the best in those subjects, which I can't because I'm not an expert of them, I at least don't lag far behind. I used to look for my strength points. I'm good in law, I'm good in pol science, I'm good in history. Or even focus on subjects which are usually ignored, like say language subjects like Hindi. I used to work for them. How do I maintain my rank? My rank which everybody so questioned. During this time, I also met the companion of my life. And let me tell you, I somehow, through all that hard work, sincerity, dedication of not losing sight of things, not letting people get to me, managed to score the highest when the UPSC marks along with the 2 years of training were added. And I got this beautiful medal, the President of India medal, gold medal for coming first in order of merit. So, while the fire in me was probably ignited by all those armchair critics who always doubted, but what sailed me through was the desire to prove what I was truly capable of. And now, nobody can take that away from me. Nobody can question this. I think that what began with doubts, with questions, with criticisms, is now firmly grounded in continued excellence, and my credibility has been restored. Now, coming to you, my dear friends, all your life, you will face situations where everyone in the world will be against you, where everyone will keep doubting you, everyone will criticize you, you will feel you're without help. Acha, you have not cleared this exam. Oh, you've still not landed a good job. Please, don't let that get to you. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. That is really the time you have to be brave and strong. Strong enough to have faith in yourself, believe in your dreams and goals, and brave enough to brush off your worst critics with a smile on your face. And believe me, you do this, things fall into place. That's what I have learned from my own experience. Everything works in the form of a life cycle. Everything will take care of itself eventually. And it will if you have faith and you keep moving forward. If you have faith and you keep moving on.
एक दिन पहले तो बहुत ही नर्वसनेस थी, दिमाग में बहुत डाउट्स आ रहे थे कि रिज़ल्ट कैसा रहेगा, कुछ नींद नहीं आ रही थी, कुछ खाया नहीं जा रहा था, दिमाग में बस यही चल रहा था रिज़ल्ट आने वाला है, रिज़ल्ट आने वाला है। और ये रिज़ल्ट इतना इंपॉर्टेंट होता है कि लिटरली आपकी लाइफ डिटरमाइन कर देता है। मैं कितने घंटे पढ़ाई करती थी, तो तकरीबन हम कह सकते हैं 8 घंटे एक दिन में। पर इसी के साथ साथ अगर सही मायने में बहुत अच्छे से पढ़ाई करनी हो, मन लगा के पढ़ाई करनी हो, तो मुझे लगता है कि एक अच्छी स्लीप, एक अच्छी नींद होना भी बहुत बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। जेंडर इक्वालिटी और जो भी वैल्यूज़ मेरी फैमिली और मेरे कॉलेज ने दी हैं, तो महिलाओं से जुड़े मुद्दे कुछ ऐसे हैं जो बिल्कुल एक महिला होते हुए बहुत दिल को छूते हैं, और मैं भी एवरीडे पे ऐसी चीज़ों को फेस करती हूँ। तो और हरियाणा की अगर हम बात करें तो एक बहुत चैलेंजिंग स्टेट है और बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ भी हैं क्योंकि वो इतनी चैलेंजिंग है, और कई एक मायने से थोड़ी बहुत इस जेंडर इनइक्वालिटी जो वो स्टेट, वो राज्य फेस करता है, मेरे ख्याल से इस वजह से उसकी ओवरऑल जो ग्रोथ है वो थोड़ी रुकी सी हुई है।
जैसे हमारी फर्स्ट पोस्टिंग होती है वो फील्ड पोस्टिंग होती है, वेयर वी कम अक्रॉस अ लॉट ऑफ लैंड लॉज, रेवेन्यू लॉज। तो हमारी बहुत एक्सटेंसिव ट्रेनिंग होती है रेवेन्यू लॉज में, CRPC में, IPC में, और इसके अलावा वी आर टॉट अबाउट अ रेंज ऑफ टॉपिक्स, यू नो, कि जैसे कोई भी न्यू इंपॉर्टेंट स्कीम्स चल रही हैं जो फील्ड में इम्प्लीमेंट होंगी तो उसके बारे में ब्रीफ दिया जाता है। गेस्ट स्पीकर्स बुलाए जाते हैं, सो IAS ऑफिसर्स और अदर ऑफिसर्स फ्रॉम डिफरेंट सर्विसेज आर कॉल्ड टू गिव देयर एक्सपीरियंसेस टू शेयर द की लर्निंग फैक्टर्स विच हैव बीन देयर ऑपरेटिंग इन द फील्ड फॉर देम, जो हमें यूजफुल हो सकती हैं। तो ऐसे गैमेट ऑफ चीज़ें हमें सिखाई जाती है ट्रेनिंग में। एंड ट्रेनिंग में इसके अलावा लॉट ऑफ एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज, स्पोर्ट एक्टिविटीज़ को इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं कि एक बहुत ही होलसम एक्सपीरियंस रहे। एंड हमारी इवन ट्रेनिंग हमारी इवेल्युएट की जाती है, हमारी एग्ज़ाम्स होती हैं। एंड इन फैक्ट टूवर्ड्स द एंड ऑफ द ट्रेनिंग हमारे ट्रेनिंग मार्क्स और UPSC के एग्जामिनेशन मार्क्स को टोटल किया जाता है। और I'm very glad and I'm very happy to tell you कि even मेरे I stood first after my training। तो ट्रेनिंग के बाद हमारा एक बहुत ही ब्रीफ टेन्योर होता है विद गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एज असिस्टेंट सेक्रेटरी इन वेरियस मिनिस्ट्रीज ऑफ गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया। और उसके बाद हमें जो कार्डर अलॉट होता है तो we all go to our respective cadres. So for instance, I was allotted the Rajasthan cadre and so I went to Rajasthan and I was posted as SDM in Bhilwara district of Rajasthan।
फर्स्ट पोजीशन और सेकंड पोजीशन, 8वीं से बातचीत, पहला एक्सपीरियंस।
बहुत अच्छा लगा अपने काडर आकर। बीकानेर में हम कल आए थे और बहुत ही खुश और बहुत ही अच्छा महसूस हो रहा है। इतने अच्छे लोग हैं और इतना अच्छा मौसम भी हो गया क्योंकि हम अभी जम्मू से आए थे तो हम बहुत ठंड थी। और बस यही लग रहा है कि बहुत एक्साइटेड फील हो रहा है कि हम भी जल्दी से आएँ और यहाँ हमें काम करने का मौका मिले, सेवा करने का मौका मिले।
संभालो मुझको ओ मेरे यारो, संभलना मुश्किल हो गया। दिल में मेरे ख्वाब तेरे, तस्वीरें जैसे हो दीवार में। तुझ पे फिदा मैं क्यों हुआ, आता है गुस्सा मुझे प्यार में। मैं लुट गया मान के दिल का कहा, मैं कहीं का ना रहा, क्या कहूँ वो दिलरुबा। बुरा ये जादू तेरी आंखों का, ये मेरा कातिल हो गया। गुलाबी आंखें जो तेरी देखी, शराबी ये दिल हो गया। मैंने सदा चाहा यही, दामन बचा लूं हसीनों से मैं। तेरी कसम ख्वाबों में भी बचता फिरा नाज़नीनों से मैं। तौबा मगर मिल गई तुझसे नजर, मिल गया दर्द जिगर, क्या कहूँ वो बेखबर। जरा सा हंस के जो देखा तूने, मैं तेरा बिस्मिल हो गया। गुलाबी आंखें जो तेरी देखी, शराबी ये दिल हो गया। संभालो मुझको ओ मेरे यारो, संभलना मुश्किल हो गया।
बोलो ना क्या हुआ, हमको ये क्या हुआ, कोई ऐसी